Hello, and welcome to episode 10 of season 2 of Unlimited Opinions. I'm Adam Bishop.
I'm Mark Bishop.
And of course, we are reading Jake Jackson's Myths and Legends, all about world mythology. And this time, we are talking about the myths of other gods in the Yin Nation in Chinese mythology. This was a longer section than last time, so this will be a bit of a longer episode. I think it is noteworthy to say that we are recording this back-to-back with the last episode, because I'm in town this week for Thanksgiving, of course. So we're going to try to record as many as we can while I'm here, so we can not have to worry about that while I'm preparing for finals at the end of the semester. So, for this foreseeable future, these will be in person, so you don't have to worry about me cutting you off on Zoom again.
That's true.
Yes.
It's much more interesting when I talk more.
Yes, it is. Yep. It's certainly interesting. I don't know about informative, but it's always interesting.
It's not better.
More entertaining, though.
More of a curiosity.
Yes.
More annoying or whatever. It's easier for me to interrupt you.
It is. It's, as we saw last time.
It's one of my favorite things to do, is to interrupt you.
Ah, how nice.
I mean, during these episodes.
Yeah. Yes, it's very entertaining. Well, you interrupt me. I don't know if we've told this on the podcast before, but you interrupt me every single time we start... Or you do the opposite of interrupting me when we're sound testing. So I always say, okay, I'm testing the mics now to get the levels, and they'll say, okay, you talk right after me. And then I'll just sit there and look at me for like 5 seconds.
It's dad humor.
It's the one time you're supposed to talk.
Right.
Yes.
I refuse. I don't do what I'm told.
Yeah, I know. And so we start off this episode with the story of the 10 sons of Dijun and Zihei. And so, of course, sons here is not S-O-N-S, it's S-U-N-S, as we'll see
That's
here.
very similar. It's a story of the sons.
Yes, the sons which are physical sons. So the god of the east, Dijun, married the goddess of the sun, Zihei, and they lived on the edge of the eastern ocean, where Zihei gave birth to 10 glowing suns. Each morning, Zihei would take one son from the resting spot under the giant Fusang tree and bring him with her in her chariot across the sky. The 10 sons grew tired of always missing one of their brothers, and so they decided to rebel against the strict schedule of their mother, with all 10 of them leaping into the sky one day. They didn't stop to consider the consequences of their actions, and so crops died, rivers dried, and beasts became desperate for food and began killing many people as droughts swept the land. The 10 sons then called upon the sorceress Nu Chao for help, but her spells had no effect, so they turned to their emperor, but he was at a loss, and they prayed that he would be visited by the god of wisdom. And so, at the end of this story, there's no foreseeable solution to this problem, but as we see with these stories, I
think you misspoke.
Did I?
I think you said the 10 sons called out for help and stuff, but it was the people.
called
out for help against the 10 sons, trying to get them to stop, because instead of taking turns, they all went up in the sky at the same time.
Yes, sorry, I did misspeak there. It was the people calling out. I had
Correct.
Miswritten it in my notebook.
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm terribly sorry. I'm the one who actually takes notes on these stories.
I have notes. I just read them in my
You
book.
just read them in the book. I can't stand that. Oh, it bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another story.
This will be bequeathed to you
Oh, how
when
nice.
I die,
Oh,
if I still have it.
uplifting.
Or I will use it as kindling.
Oh, that's lovely.
In a fire.
Fantastic.
To rip out pages.
But this is another story we were talking about last episode, kind of explaining the many droughts and the floods, and this seems certainly to be another one of those. One day is the massive amount of heat generated by these 10 eager suns.
Well, I think this is more of a morality tale.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think this is as much of explaining bad stuff that happens. I think it's a morality tale.
How so? What's the moral?
We haven't got there yet.
We haven't got there yet.
No, I mean, this part is just the premise. And then the next one, when Yi, the archer, is summoned.
Yes.
When we get to justice.
Yes, all right. So I guess I should just jump right into that story so you can
I
talk
think
about
so.
justice.
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah. So Dijun and Zihei were horrified by their son's actions, but they could not bring themselves to raise a hand against them, despite Emperor Yao's command.
That's the first lesson. So it's about bad parenting. You can't let your kids just do whatever they want. Bad things will happen to them, and bad things will happen to society if you don't discipline children and teach them the limitations of what they should or shouldn't do in their power.
Yes. So then Emperor Yao then called upon the god Yi for help, who was one of the most gifted archers in heaven. Dijun then gave Yi a red bow and a quiver of white arrows and asked him to do what he must, but to not hurt the sons any more than necessary.
Here's a supremely powerful weapon. Don't hurt anybody with it, but do what you can to make them stop. With this arrow, what is he supposed to do with the bow and arrows other than shoot them? I was thinking, how is this, when I'm reading this, because it's all new to me,
Mm-hmm.
how is this guy going to figure out a way to stop them without hurting anybody, which is really what his instructions were. And I thought, well, he's going to have to come up with something clever, like maybe pin him to a wall or something.
Yeah.
But he had his own solution.
He did have his own solution.
I 100% accept and support.
I figured you would. So,
and his wife is horrible. But we'll get to that.
We will get to that, yes. So Yi and his wife, Chang'e, then descended from heaven. And seeing the horrible state that the world was in, Yi forgot his promise to treat the sons leniently, and so he went to the top of the highest mountain. There he took aim and hit one of the suns, causing it to burst into 1,000 sparks and fall to the ground, where it transformed into a 3-legged raven.
Yikes.
Yi then did the same for more of the sons, and when Emperor saw that only 2 sons were left, he stole the last of Yi's arrows to ensure that there would be only 1 sun left in the sky to heat up the planet. So Yi then gathered a fresh supply of arrows to kill the creatures roaming the earth.
He really wanted to finish them off.
Yeah, I know. He was
pissed.
He was eager. So he first killed the man-eating creature of the marsh with 6 feet and a human head known as Yao Qi. And he killed Yao Qi with a steel arrow straight through the heart. He then killed the 9-headed monster Xiu Ying by wading into a deep black pool and throttling it with his bare hands, which was lovely.
Beat him to death.
He then moved to the Qinghui marshes of the east, where he killed the terrible vulture Da Fang by tying a cord to his final arrow, which he then shot, and then used the cord to drag the creature down and stab it repeatedly. All the people praised Yi, and Emperor Yao invited Yi to live in a great palace on earth, but Yi was anxious to return to the heavens. Mm-hmm. So that is the story of how Yi very efficiently solved Earth's problems.
He might have gotten a little carried away by really murdering them. He shot them out of the sky, and then he's just like, I'm going to finish these sons of bitches off.
Well, these were different creatures.
I thought they turned into those creatures.
No, the creatures were just had already existed on Earth.
Well, what about the 3-legged raven?
That was just a thing.
That was just the one guy?
That was just or maybe they all turned into 3-legged ravens.
I just assumed they were turning into these creatures and he hunted them down.
No, these were the beasts that came out to kill all of humanity because they were so desperate for food. Okay, because the droughts happened and all these creatures came out.
I missed that.
So they were not the sons,
So not only did he shoot the sons out of the sky, he got rid of all the other people.
Yeah, so he just
other bad things.
solved many other problems for these people.
This guy is a 100% hero.
Yes. He absolutely is.
He did what needed to be done. Mm-hmm. And of course he suffers for it, which is a lesson of all humanity. Mm-hmm. Any of those, it's a theme throughout human history and morality stories, where there's an essential person that has unique skills to solve an existential problem. Mm-hmm. Existential problem.
There we go.
But once that person completes that task, they're really no longer welcome in civil society, and that's a really strong tradition in American history stories, especially like movies, like Shane. You ever see Shane? Mm-mm. Oh, God, what am I doing? I'm not having you watch any of these great movies. Well, Shane is a gunslinger that happens into a small town out west, and there's an evil rancher that is trying to force out the homesteaders, like the good people that are trying to form a town. And things escalate, and Shane has to do what he has to do, but then he knows he can't live in that town because he's one of those gunslingers. Yeah. And so he has to ride off and find his way somewhere else. And it's very similar to my theory of Trump, because Trump is the only one that could have accomplished what he accomplished, which was defeating Hillary Clinton and exposing all these crazy people in Washington. I mean, I didn't even realize how corrupt they were, and I'm a cynic. And but it's like, do we really want that character? That's the only character that could possibly withstand that criticism? Not really. And I think that this is similar to this Yi guy. Yeah, he's the only one that could solve the problem. But once he did, then he's got hell to pay for it.
Yeah, which we're getting into in this next story, which I guess we should go right into.
Yes,
because as I kind of alluded to in the last episode, these are very interconnected. Yeah. Part of the sort of same cycle here. So this is the story of Chang'e's betrayal. So Yi, then returning to the heavens, expected the same praise that he had received on earth, but he was met by a furious Dijun, who stripped him and his wife Chang'e of their godly status and banished them to the earth to live as mortals. Chang'e was furious and regretted ever marrying Yi, who tried his best to make their life very comfortable, and he gave her every desire, but she would always scorn his gifts. So one evening, Chang'e demanded Yi travel to the mountains of Kenlun and find the Queen Mother of the West, who had the elixir of immortality. Yi then went out to find her, coming to the region encircled by fire mountains and a moat of boiling water, where the Queen Mother had a human face, a tiger's teeth, matted hair, a scaly body, and a leopard's tail.
Yikes.
So Yi still had some godly powers, and he passed through the flames and the moat unharmed, and he decided to honestly tell the Queen his story. To his relief, the Queen Mother of the West listened with sympathy, giving him the magic medicine, telling him that if 2 people shared the medicine, they would have eternal life in the mortal world. But if 1 person swallowed it all, they would have the immortality and powers of the gods.
You know where this is going.
So Yi then returned to Chang'e, who said she would guard the medicine while he prepared a great feast.
Not good.
Not a good idea, nope. As soon as Yi left, however, Chang'e was overcome with resentment for him, and she swallowed all of the elixir. She then began to float towards the heavens, but in between the earth and the gods, she became worried that the gods wouldn't accept her, and so she turned towards the moon to wait until they forgot about her punishment. So the moon was more desolate than she thought, only hosting a single rabbit under a cassia tree.
Which I didn't understand that reference.
Yes, that seemed very, very
Maybe
random.
We'll have an explanation of that later.
Yes. So she was unable to bear the loneliness, and so Chang'e attempted to rise once more, but her powers had abandoned her, and she found herself transformed into a frog. And so she remained on the moon until the end of time.
A giant toad.
A giant
not
toad.
A frog.
I'm so sorry.
There's a difference.
Yes, there is a difference. So she was transformed into a giant toad.
Yes.
And so she remained on the moon until the end of time, longing for the husband that she had abandoned. Yes, she sucks.
Well, and she suffered a fate worse than I would expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, but then I guess Yi. I don't know what the final story of Yi is, but at least he got rid of the lying wife, and he's celebrated on Earth, but he's mortal, so he died. You know, presumably many years ago. But no good deed goes unpunished.
I just thought it's interesting. I think there's kind of a contrast here with the Queen Mother of the West, and kind of how she looks terrible and is all disgusting and scaly. But she's like one of the most sympathetic people in the story. You know, she treats Yi with the most kindness. Right. And then Chang'e, who's presumably a beautiful goddess-looking woman, turns out to be the worst person ever. And then when she steals all of the elixir of immortality, then she's transformed into this ugly toad on the moon. Right. Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds you of the story of the Gremlins.
The Gremlins?
Yeah, you know the movie The Gremlins?
I know of the movie The Gremlins.
Yeah,
I have not seen it.
Don't feed them after midnight.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
We just watched it the other day.
Oh.
It's really, really funny.
Really?
Disturbingly funny. The little Gremlins.
I know the premise. I've
are criminals, and they I think they probably murdered a lot of people, but they're really funny when they go about it. It really is. Yeah, we'll have to watch that again. We have to keep a list of all the movies that you have not seen and need to see. But anyway, they're the guy who got they weren't gremlins. They're the good ones are not gremlins. They're whatever they are. I can't think what they are before they turn into gremlins. If you give them water, they multiply. If you feed them after midnight, I think they turn into gremlins, evil creatures. But anyway, they're warned, but not completely warned, because she gave them instructions saying 1 for immortality, double dose for power of the gods. But she didn't say, yeah, but if you don't go up there right away, you're going to turn into a toad on the moon.
Well, I don't know if that's related to the elixir itself. That might have been some form of divine punishment, because there are other gods around, and so I think that's a possibility.
Could be.
Yeah, it is a neat subversion of expectations, though, because when you hear about the fiery mountains and the moat, you expect Yi to go over there and kill this horrible creature, but it was she just it's like, oh, that sucks. Here's some elixir.
Yeah, and he was rewarded for his honesty.
Yeah. Exactly.
But then betrayed by the person he was devoted to most in the world.
I guess it kind of is a story of honesty then. Because he was honest and he was rewarded, and then lying Chang'e turned into a toad.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was too trusting.
He was. He
was too trusting with her, and the parents in the original story were too lenient with the kids. So if you live a life of moderation and reasonableness.
Tough but fair.
Yes.
Exactly. So then we move on to a story that is not related to this sort of cycle. The story of Haoji, the Ice Child. So Jingjuan was one of the 4 wives of Diku, god of the east, and she one day came across large footprints in the earth by a riverbank. She stepped in the footprints, unwittingly conceiving of a child, and she soon gave birth to a son, of which she was very ashamed of, not knowing who the father was. She then took the baby to a deserted country road, and she dropped him off in a field, hoping that he would be trampled by cattle and die in the cold, which is just awful.
Isn't this the second story of some gal getting impregnated by stepping in a footprint?
Yes, this happened in the other Chinese myths too. You are correct. So the sheep and the cattle, however, treated this child as their own, keeping him warm, fit, and strong. Zhang Wan then sent her scouts out to make sure the child was dead, and finding him alive, she ordered them to leave him deep in the forest. They did so, but in the morning a group of woodcutters came across the child and brought him to their village, giving him to the woman Chung Ti, and he thrived in her care. Zhang Wan then tracked him down again, and she really wanted to make sure that he was dead, so she stripped him of his clothes and threw him into an icy river. However, the infant remained on the water for 2 years, protected by a swarm of birds that would feed him and shelter him under their wings. The people nearby grew curious why the birds always flocked near the water at the same spot, so they sailed out, finding this child, and they believed him to be a gift from the gods, naming him Hao Ji. Now Hao Ji became an exceptional farmer, giving the people bountiful food, and the emperor appointed him minister of state for his amazing agricultural abilities. When Hao Ji died, he left behind a 5-crop stone, which guaranteed a constant supply of food for the people of China.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it was interesting here. The mother, Jiang Wan, was really, really awful. You would think that she would just kind of stop after, the child was, in the care of the woman, Chang Ti, because, it's no longer connected to her.
Right.
There's no responsibility on her end. This child is taken care of.
Right.
Strange that she wanted it dead so badly.
Right. Well, it supports one of my original, in my young life, my original controversial theories of life, which I used to, and finally I convinced your mother of after years, took me years, that there are some people that hate their children. And that's a hard thing for people to understand. But if you know anything about the criminal justice system, or even, abuse and neglect cases, any sort of justice system evaluating children, you realize there are some people that just want to kill their kids, want to rape their children, want to do all sorts of bad things to them. And there's really not a whole lot of logic to it, but this is the myth that supports that theory. That's just a myth, but
yeah.
That some people are just bad parents, and they go about it, and not trying to be absentee parents or negligent parents, but actually evil people that will kill their kids. And she tried 4 times.
Yeah.
But because of the goodness of the local animals and people in the villages, he's able to thrive. And because of their generosity, he was able to show them all sorts of great things with horticulture.
Exactly. It's just very interesting because there's, really no good reason why she would want this child dead.
Well, initially it was because the shame of having an illegitimate child.
Yeah, but I mean, beyond that point, there's no reason for her to go back and make sure that it's dead.
Right. Well, I guess the one good thing is that, if you want something done right, you have to do it, thoroughly.
I guess that's true.
I think she was just upset that she didn't get it done. Yeah.
That's really brutal. But yes.
Yeah, she seems rather persistent. Yeah, once she's made up her mind. So there is that for her.
You're quite right. So now we move back into a story that's actually connected to the previous stories before Hao Ji. This is the story of Gun battling the Great Flood.
When I first read this, I thought gun battles of
gun.
the Great Flood, but
gun battles of the Great Flood.
Well, there was some ships, but no,
no.
Gun,
yes. So Emperor Yao, of course, the emperor from the previous stories, was the first mortal emperor. He was one of the wisest, and most devoted, and most humble rulers, but his reign was plagued with tragedy, particularly after the killing of the sons of Dijun. His people were now living miserable, wretched lives, and they squabbled bitterly with each other. And the high god Tiandi saw all of this, seeing only that humanity was on a path of wickedness and corruption. He then sent the god of water to earth, commanding him to create a flood that would cleanse the world of evil and would last 22 years. Very few people survived the torrential rains as the world began to resemble one vast ocean, and only one god had sympathy for them, Gun, the grandson of the Yellow Emperor. So Gun pleaded with Tiandi to stop the flood, but he refused, and Gun became despondent, powerless to save humanity.
This god that sends down the flood god reminds me like Thanos. Just we have to cleanse it.
Yes. So one day his friends, an eagle and a tortoise, came to him, telling him of the Shirang, a magical clay in Tiandi's palace that could stop the flood. Gun then stole the Shirang, dropping it on earth, and mountains sprang up, damming the waters and saving humanity for a brief time. Tiandi was not pleased and sent down Zhurong, the god of fire, to kill Gun, and Gun was easily overcome and the flood resumed. Gun had then died without completing his work, and so his spirit remained in his body, which the humans kept safe high in the mountains, and it didn't decompose for 3 years. Tiandi then sent down an official with a divine sword called the Weidao to carve up Gun's body, but as he did so, a mighty golden dragon sprang forth, and this was Yu, son of Gun, who had come to complete Gun's work. So this was another interesting flood story. Very, very similar to the biblical flood story, actually.
Yeah, right.
With God seeing that all these people are very, very wicked and, thinking the only way to kind of cleanse the world and save humanity is to kill a lot of humanity.
Yeah, just drown a whole bunch of them, except for the chosen few.
Yep, exactly.
I kind of sympathize.
That's worrying, considering you just compared this to Thanos.
Or is it just empathize?
Empathize.
I don't know, empathize, not emphasize.
Not emphasize, no.
Empathize.
Empathize.
Where I share the feeling.
Yeah, sympathy is like feeling bad and like pity. Empathy is like understanding what they're going through.
Share it.
Yes.
Share the feeling.
Yes.
Well, what would you do? I mean, if you had ultimate power of judgment over others? That'd be a tough thing.
I don't think I'll ever be in that position.
Well, what if you were? What if God says, you know what, I'm tired. I need you to start judging people. You're gonna judge people. So you can judge them before they die, make them die, or you just wait till they die and then you judge them. What would you do?
I would wait until they die.
Really? Why?
I don't want to kill people. I mean, I think that's a pretty simple question.
Well, you'll be aware of a guy approaching. Well, I'll give you a real world example. Young guy abducts a 7-year-old girl and starts to rape her, and when she struggles, he beats her over the head with a rock and kills her. And she's crying out for her mother as he's beating her to death with a rock.
Jesus Christ.
Happened.
Yes.
Guy's on death row now. Anyway, so if you had the choice and the power and the knowledge of it happening, why wouldn't you snap your fingers and kill that guy right before
I thought you meant
a kid?
Blanketly all of humanity.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yes.
Case by case. Not all of us.
Case by case, yeah. Then yes, then I think I would kill some people.
Really? Because, what if they could redeem themselves?
You were shocked by my first answer. Now you're shocked by my second answer.
Shouldn't you give them an opportunity?
I guess.
To do the right thing.
I mean, at some point.
Feel sorrow, remorse, and redeem their soul.
I mean, if I have all of this power and all of this knowledge, I think I'll know if they're going to redeem themselves or not.
Well, you're assuming you can know the future.
Oh, this is getting back to last season. Oh, no. Not this discussion again.
But I think that was a premise. The premise was that you would know what they're going to do.
If I knew what they were going to do, yes, then yes, I would kill a lot of people.
I don't know. I don't know if I would.
Really? I mean...
I don't know if I'd kill a lot of... Well, if I knew everything they were going to do...
I don't know if I'd kill a lot of people, but I'd kill some of the worst people.
I think it would be hard to stop.
Oh, God.
Because how do you draw the line of the worthy and not worthy?
Well, this is going back to the lower 10% theory, kind of of your
right.
buddy in college.
Right.
The world would be better off if like the worst 10% of people were just gone, or just eradicated.
Well, and he never used it as the worst. He said the least productive.
Yes.
The net value, and I think he had an explanation of how he would compute it. But in fairness, he had consumed some beers before he shared the theory with me.
Very utilitarian.
It was. And his explanation was, well, each 10% is going to be smaller
Mm-hmm.
than the previous 10% because, you've already eliminated 10%. So now you're really, 9% of the grand total before you eliminate the 10. But of course, you don't ever finish.
Mm-hmm. Unless you get to 9 people.
No, you still get to take 10% of them. I mean,
I guess it's
round
not a
up.
full person, yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Chop off half of it.
I guess you'd have to get to
Start-
to 4 people, really.
Well, you start taking off limbs.
Oh, God. That's horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, I'm not advocating, of course.
Yes.
But, I think that would be part of the problem.
Mm.
Is that the real clear case, the serial killers and that kind of stuff. But I think those are pretty rare, and there's a lot of overlap with mental illness too.
Mm.
And then you have diminished capacity and diminished responsibility, and that'd be tough.
Yeah,
it would get very tough very quickly.
that's true.
But the first ones would be pretty easy, I guess.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty. You quickly run into gray areas where you end up being the biggest monster in the universe.
That's true.
I think.
Yeah, like Thanos.
Well, his wasn't really connected to any sort of morality
I guess that's
or
true.
responsibility.
Well, it was connected to responsibility in a way.
Collective, but
Collective,
not
yeah.
individual.
Yes, exactly.
He didn't.
Well, he saw it as his responsibility. If he had the power, he had to do this. This was his calling.
Yeah,
essentially.
but that's just bunk because he could have selected bad people. If you're omnipotent, can't you kill everybody who's killed somebody, and then figured out the math? I mean, you could limit the half. Wasn't it half?
Yeah, half of all life.
Yeah, half of all life. You could try to qualify it so there's some sort of theory of justice behind it, as opposed to just a seemingly random. And I don't. Maybe there was some. They never explained in the movies how it was decided which half.
Yeah. I think it was just completely random. Everybody had a 50-50 chance of being snapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Go down that path.
Yes.
Too.
Yes,
All
that
right,
was an
so-
interesting philosophical discussion.
I don't know if it's interesting, but it was a discussion.
It was a discussion.
So where were we at?
We're now on You Controls the Flood.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Let's move on. Who?
Yes. You.
Not me.
No, you.
That's you.
I thought the first line of the story was very funny to me. The appearance of a great golden dragon in the skies, whose sole purpose it was to save mankind from destruction, encouraged the High God Tiandi to question whether or not the punishment he had meted out to the people below had been a little too severe.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Perhaps I was a little carried away.
Yes, one sole purpose is to stop what I have done. Uh-oh. And so seeing this, Tiandi then yielded to the dragon's wishes. Tiandi then called upon Gong Gong, the god of water, to stop the rains. And he then gave Yu enough shirang to build another dam, and he sent the dragon Yinglong to assist him. Now Gong Gong was very angry to see his work undone by a boy dragon, so he faced Yu in single combat, and Yu easily defeated him and skewered his ugly head upon his sword. Yu then later realized that the dams weren't enough to safeguard against the floods forever, and so he dragged his tail in the earth, creating the great rivers that flow east to the sea to this day.
Creating a system of irrigation.
Yes, this was a fitting end to Gong Gong. If you remember, about 3 episodes ago, he was the one who originally caused one of the first disasters, fighting Zhu Rong and then losing, and then he decided to kill himself and smashed into a mountain and broke off a chunk of the sky. So I was waiting for him to get his sort of comeuppance here. So he's finally killed by Yu, skewering
Not me.
My God, by the golden dragon skewering his head on a sword.
Yes.
Which is it's a fitting end.
Skewer. I guess it's kind of like a
Just saying words.
no, it's kind of like
dragon.
Yes, golden dragon. No, like like when you barbecue something, like what do you call that when you have like 10 things on a skewer?
A kebab.
Kebab, yes. Don't you think that he'd be like a gong gong kebab?
Yeah, I guess so.
We need to come up with a recipe that's called gong gong kebab.
Gong gong. Okay, I'll get right on that. I guess. I don't know what you want me to do about that.
thinking some chicken.
Some chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
chicken.
chicken.
Some vegetables. We'll call
I don't know. I feel like gong gong's more of a pork.
I was thinking the same thing after I said chicken.
It'd be pork.
Yeah, pork.
Pork.
Pork kebabs. So big
Pork
gong
kebabs.
kebabs. With like a sweet and sour sauce.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting hungry.
Oh, that's a good idea. You should cook a gong gong kebab.
You have to have one thing that looks like a face. That would be the gong gong.
And what would that be?
I don't know. Like a mushroom and put carve a little face into it.
Little potato or something.
Oh yeah, potato with eyes. You know, like an eye of potato. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's already grown a little eyes. Those aren't very tasty, but that'll be our gong gong.
Okay, fantastic. Moving on to the marriage of you.
Of me?
No, not of you. So you, not you, the golden dragon you, spent 30 years regulating the waters before he began to desire a wife. One day he observed a white fox with 9 tails that sang him a strange little song.
Are you going to sing it?
I'm not going to sing it. I will recite it.
Oh, recite it.
He who meets with the fox of
He
nine...
who meets with the fox of 9 tails will soon become king of the land. He who weds the chief's daughter on Mount 2 will become a prosperous man.
That was really bad. That was really awful.
Yeah, he sings it like a little leprechaun.
Thank you for that.
I should have done it in a fake Chinese accent.
That's not what we did.
All right.
And so you traveled to Mount Yu, and on Mount Yu lived Ni Zhao, who had admired you for her whole life. When he had appeared to her and asked for her hand in marriage, she immediately agreed. Nu Zhao quickly became pregnant, and more responsibility was then placed on Yu's shoulders over time. He often had to spend weeks away solving the problems of the world. When the time was close for Nu Zhao to deliver, Yu was called away to restore the Hanwan Mountains, and so he told Nu Zhao that he would take a drum with him and beat it when it was safe for her to join him. And so when Yu came to the mountains, he transformed into a giant bear to complete the grueling work ahead, tossing boulders into the mountains to fill the gaps. But one of the boulders slipped from his hands and landed on the drum. Nu Zhao heard this and quickly came to find Yu, but upon coming to the mountains, all she saw was a terrifying bear, and she ran, with Yu pursuing her, not realizing that he wasn't in his human shape. She ran faster and faster until her muscles grew stiff and her face drained of color, and she dropped to the ground where she turned to stone. Horrified by what had happened, Yu called out for his son, and the stone burst open, and a baby crawled out, and he was named Kui, meaning crushed stone. It's a very sad story to end this section on. Yeah. Very, very kind of depressing, honestly.
Here's this guy doing all this good work, and he finally finds a gal, and there's all just a big misunderstanding because that was it Bjorn? Was it the bear guy from the Hobbit?
Yeah, Bjorn, which is related to the Norwegian word Bjorn, meaning bear.
The word Bjorn was related to the word Bjorn?
Bjorn, not Beorn. Beorn is the bear guy. Bjorn is the Norwegian word.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying the exact same word.
No, it's a different word. Not as similar as Jotun and Giant.
All right. Yes, this is they're similar, unlike the other words that you said are not similar, which you say are similar. So another bear man creature guy. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that'd be nice. I think it'd be pretty cool to be able to turn into a bear at will.
That would be neat.
They're surprisingly quick.
Bears, yeah, they can climb. You shouldn't climb to get away from a bear because they will just climb after you.
What the hell are you supposed to do?
Depends on the bear.
I think I'd run around a tree. Like I get behind the tree and he'd go this way. I go around the other way until he tires out.
If it's a black bear, you're supposed to stand your ground because black bears are actually pretty small. If it's a grizzly bear or a brown bear, you're kind of screwed. Like the best thing that you can do is like try to just turn and slowly walk, or not turn, but keep facing it and slowly walk away backwards. But if it does come and like try to get you, like the best thing you can do is just curl up and put your hands on your neck and hope that it doesn't maul you to death.
Perhaps you should try to ride it like a horse.
No, you shouldn't.
You shouldn't get on its back.
No,
but hold on for dear life.
But that's the actual bear advice, though. Is stand your ground for a black bear.
Seems kind of hopeless on the grizzly, but they're huge.
They are huge. Yeah, they are massive. I didn't realize how big they were.
I was just watching. I don't know how I came out. Maybe it came in my Facebook feed. There's a video of a guy on a bicycle. He's like doing a trail bike ride, and a grizzly is coming up. He has a camera on his helmet.
Yeah.
And he looks off to the right, and there is a grizzly charging at him through the woods, and he is flying on that bicycle. And every once in a while, he looks back, and you see the grizzly behind him.
That video's fake.
Oh, is it really?
I know that video you're talking about. That video's fake.
Oh, that's disappointing.
There are other videos of grizzlies that are equally as terrifying, but I know that specific video is fake.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a CGI bear.
I thought it was surprisingly long chase.
Yeah.
I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Oh.
They wouldn't chase for that long, I don't think.
I don't think so either. But I thought, man, that's a persistent bear.
Yeah. If a grizzly does chase a human, it's usually because the cubs are nearby. It just wants you away. And so if you get away, then you're kind of good. But you're probably not going to get away if the grizzly starts chasing you.
I think I would have to try. I don't think I would physically... Well, I mean, assuming that I could have the wherewithal to run, because I may just be peeing my pants and screaming like a little girl and drop to the ground. But if I could reason... I don't think I would be able to overcome my fear and just try to run.
Yeah.
And then hope for the best.
Well, Nu Zhao did it. She ran from the bear.
Yeah, I guess she kind of got away, but then she turned to stone. She passed
Well,
out.
yeah, she ran for too long.
She should have been in training. She should have.
Yeah, she should have listened to my bear advice.
Yeah.
If I had been there, Nu Zhao wouldn't have died.
Yeah, because she would have tried to face him off, and then he'd be like, "Oh shit, I'm a bear."
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Oh hey, honey, I'm sorry, I spooked you."
Yeah. That's very interesting.
So really, the lesson there is to know more about how to interact with bears in the wild.
What do you think is the lesson there? Do you think there is a lesson, or is it just kind of a sad story for the sake of a sad story?
I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't know. Maybe communicate better with your wife, because evidently he didn't tell her he could turn into a bear.
Yeah, she seems surprised by that.
Right, because he should have let her know. Hey, honey, occasionally I turn into a bear when I'm doing work. So if you happen to see me, don't freak out. It's me as a bear. And that would have solved everything.
You'd think she would have known, because she presumably knew that he was also a golden dragon.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and she knew him before she met him.
Yes.
So she presumably would have heard that he turns into a bear on occasion.
You would assume.
Or maybe it was just his cheat. Like when he has to do a whole lot of work, and he didn't want anybody to know that he turns into a bear, because it kind of makes, kind of cheating. Because everybody's like, wow, I can't believe it moved those big boulders. But they don't realize he's turned into a bear.
Was that your Chinese accent?
No, that was not. I can give you a Chinese
No,
accent.
that's all right. That's
it's
all right.
very similar to, what's his name? Werner? What's his first name? Or maybe that is his first name. From the old Charlie Chan movies. Which I'm sure are not appropriate now.
Probably not.
Well, actually, I know they're not, because they had racist humor at the expense of Chinese, and they had racist humor against blacks. What was the name of the chauffeur?
Uh-oh.
What?
I'm worried about what you're gonna say.
No, he's a black guy. No, I didn't write these things.
Well,
but my dad really liked them because they would have on Sunday afternoons after church, every other week. I think it might have been in WGN. Every other week they'd have Sherlock Holmes, and the other the opposing weeks they would have Charlie Chan mysteries, and we'd sit around and eat chips and watch these old black and white movies, and he loved them, and he knew all of them, and there were like 3 different Charlie Chan actors that played Charlie Chan, none of which were Asian.
Oh,
yeah, which was maybe one of them was.
I didn't realize Charlie Chan was supposed to be Asian.
What?
His
name is Charlie Chan.
Yeah, Charlie is not an Asian name.
Chan is. And have you ever seen Charlie Chan?
No, I've never. This is the first I've ever heard of him.
You've never even heard of Charlie Chan?
No, I've never heard of
the great Chinese detective?
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have to start watching some Charlie Chan movies.
I guess so.
Although I mean, it's funny how silly they are, and how stereotypical they are. But they are making fun of themselves at the same time. They're making fun of the stereotypes at the same time. I think they are. I think it's more good-natured humor, as much as you can get back in the 1940s.
Yeah.
30s maybe. Yeah, they're some of them are pretty funny, and they're mysteries, and kind of like in the Scooby Doo variety.
Yeah.
The Charlie Chan ones, because you always kind of know there's like that one bad guy, the surly character. It turns out he's the bad person.
Speaking of things we need to watch or listen to,
Yes.
There's a record behind me that we need to listen to sometime this week.
I don't have my glasses on. What does it say?
Thanksgiving is coming up for us. By the time this comes out, it'll have already passed. That's Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie.
Now we have it on vinyl.
Yes, I have it. We don't have it on vinyl. I have it on vinyl.
Let's talking collectively.
Yes, I brought that one home from
nice.
from Kirksville. So yeah.
Yeah, because normally we'd have to wait till noon.
To listen.
Thanksgiving Day to listen to it on KC, which they would play Alice's Restaurant and also Adam Sandler's Turkey song.
You want to say that name again?
What?
You want to say the name again?
What?
You said Adam Sandler.
Adam
Sandler. Yeah.
Adam
Slander. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, that's all right.
I'm tired.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I had a long day searching
for the keys.
Oh, wait, that was previous episode.
Yeah. Oh no, we're crossing over. You'll have to listen to the previous episode if you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, it's very stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was episode 10 of season 2 of Unlimited Opinions. I've been Adam Bishop.
I'm still Mark.
That was an interesting episode.
I thought I was brilliant.
You were brilliant. You're always brilliant. You always think you're brilliant.
Thank you for admitting it.
Yes.
Now put it in writing.
Yeah. I will not.
Oh, dang it.